In this series, I'm testing different baits in front of my underwater cameras in search of the most stimulatory bait, starting with the most popular bait choice of carp anglers, fishmeal boilies. Each bait test will have 5 hours in front of the time-lapse camera. I then scan through the footage frame by frame, counting every time I see a carp come into shot. A separate count will be made for every fish that's observed to be actively feeding. Once the 5 hours are up, we will know how many fish passed over the bait on test, and we'll know how many of which were stimulated to feed. A final score will be calculated, which will enter a league table to be up against a number of other baits in the future. So make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with the results as they develop. These fish are on private land. They're not fished for and left alone during filming. Therefore, the feeding observed in these videos cannot be influenced by angling pressure or human presence. However, this is filming in nature, and there's always the potential for environmental factors that are out of our control. The presence of an underwater camera may influence the fish behaviour observed, which we should be aware of during this video. So, although external influences are minimised as much as humanly possible for this video, remember that they'll never be completely eradicated. Filming starts at midday on each test, finishing at 5 PM. I hope that this way we can get a true representation of fish that are stimulated by the bait on test rather than just feeding by habit or routine at the usual times of day. I won't expose any brand other than our own in this video. All I'll say is that these are reputable fishmeal boilies. They're extremely strong smelling. They contain a premium blend of marine products that the majority of carp anglers would like to see in their bait. My personal opinion, even before filming, is that baits like these are far too overpowering. The sensitivity of cyprinid receptors are well documented, and it's understood that a drop of flavour in an Olympic-sized swimming pool is easily detected by carp. With that in mind, when a kilo of boilie fills my van with fishy aromas, I can't help but form an opinion of how this would be received in a liquid environment that carries these aromas much more freely than the atmosphere above the water. The most basic baits found in regular supermarkets seem to be just as effective in angling. This series will put all these theories to the test, so stay tuned to see how the most legendary baits perform in this underwater experiment. Before we calculate the final score, click the subscribe button so that you don't miss the next bait test, and we'll see which baits perform better in the next underwater bait battle. And there we have it, 240 sightings and 71 occurrences of feeding. That's 29.58% of the carp sightings which actively fed on those fishmeal boilies. And that is our first entry on the scoreboard. Stay tuned into the BP Milling YouTube channel to see how the next bait experiment compares. In the meantime, let's hear your thoughts in the comments and suggestions of the baits you'd like to see put to the test.